Welcome back. Still taking your phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. We're talking Pirates. We were talking Steelers. Update from the Pirates here. It looks like the Reds have 2 runners on in the top of the ninth. Felipe Vasquez just got a strikeout, so there's 1 out in that inning. Also with St. Louis and Chicago, a recent update, the Cardinals have a 6-3 lead over the Cubs. I believe that's in the top of the 9th inning as well. So there's a lot to be still determined with those 2 games. And by the way, I'll remind everyone this again. Should the Pirates hold on and win, and somehow the Cubs are able to come back, the Pirates could actually leapfrog the Cardinals in the division, but it looks like St. Louis is probably going to hold on. Let's go to Twitter before we go to the phone lines. We have PA Ram, who says a good barometer is how the Pirates do on the road versus the Indians. Cleveland possesses a 31-19 record at home. Looks like this game just went final. 6-2 the final score. Pirates beat the Reds, so they take 2 out of 3 at least in that series with a chance to sweep tomorrow. In response to PA Ram's tweet, I would totally agree with that because you're going from a team in Cincinnati right now, which, of course, is the last-place team in the National League, last League Central. However, arguably the hottest team in the league in the last month and a half. So there's that, too. But when you're facing a team like Cleveland, who's at the top of a division, which, by the way, that division is terrible. Cleveland's probably the only half-decent team. But really good starting pitching with Cleveland. Their bullpen just got better. They traded for Brad Hand. Serious upgrade there. So you look at that and you say, this should be an interesting test. I have to agree with PA Ram. This should be an interesting test to see how this lineup does, especially considering the fact that these guys are hitting right now. Marte's hitting well right now. Dickerson's hitting pretty well right now. Polanco's hitting well. Colin Moran's hitting well. All these guys are chipping in, and now you get to use the DH for 3 days. So that's something you can use to your advantage, especially while guys are contributing offensively. That's always good news. Let's go to the phone lines. We will start with Waylon in Washington. Waylon, you're in the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, really nice to see you guys. Yes, I really appreciate what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
Yes. However, question and opinion, and I'm really putting you on the spot. It's like, who's going to win that Scottish tournament, and
the Open
who
Championship?
Would you like to win? You know,
it's a good question. And to answer your question, I honestly think it's going to be Jordan Spieth. The way he roared back today. He had a pretty good round today. He's anticipating chaos tomorrow weather-wise, so it sounds like he's actually keeping his mind prepared as to what he might run into. Who would I like to see win? It's going to sound cliche. I'd like to see Tiger make another push tomorrow. I wouldn't hate it. It's a much more fun sport when Tiger's playing well. And today there was so much attention centered around what Tiger was doing, especially when he makes that push late in the morning. So I'd love to see Tiger get a good push tomorrow and have a shot at it. But honestly, right now, Kisner's still playing well. He's been playing well the entire tournament. I think it could be Kisner. I think it could be Jordan Spieth. I think it's down to one of those 2 guys. Let's go to Derek in Pittsburgh. Derek, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, hi, Josh. They had 3 men on base, and they called a bad call. He was totally saved.
Okay.
And he was on the bag, and I stopped the record button. He was saved. Bad call. I didn't like that.
Yeah, you'll have those. And thanks for the call. Also, it's actually a good time to point this out. There were some issues where it's review software or review equipment earlier in this game. And they had actually changed some things around to allow them, if they couldn't review it, to appeal to the crew chief. So there's some interesting issues there as far as the replay equipment was concerned. But a normal day isn't a normal day if there isn't a blown call in Major League Baseball. I don't know a better way to describe it. Honestly, this is one of those situations where you're talking about a game now where pitchers throw harder, players are more athletic, the speed of the game can be different from time to time, and seen with the naked eye. I mean, I know some people will tell you that umpires are expected to look at one thing and listen for other things. That's one of the things that they do. But there's points now, and there's some different times when the game is just not as simple as what you see anymore, because some things can't always be seen with the naked eye. And it doesn't really help when it's compounded when people don't like to admit mistakes, and it makes it even more frustrating. So there's that too. Let's go to Nate in Plum. Nate, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
With the naked eye, and it doesn't
Hello, Nate.
help when
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. What you got for me?
So, do you think?
You got to listen to your phone, not your TV. What you got?
Do you think? Hello.
Yes. Listen to your
Good,
phone,
how
not
are
your
you?
television.
Do you think the Pirates will make the? Do you think the Pirates will make the wild card this year?
As of right now, I don't know. I doubt it. I picked them as a 77-win team before the season started. I'm not ready to move off of that yet. Like I said at the top of the show, I'm in show improve mode. They're going to have to do a lot more than a couple of weeks because I talked about this earlier in the day on the radio. You can really break this season down into 2 chunks of 8 weeks. You can break it down the first 6 weeks of the season when they were totally hot going in from April, going into May, and then add this winning streak on the back end of it. But then you have that whole sliver of late May, all of June, and early July in between, and that was about 8 weeks when this team was what? They won 14 of 45 games. I think they were 14 and 31 after going 26 and 17 to set up this current 10-1 run. That sticks out to me, and that shows you just what happens when so many things are going wrong at the same time. If there's one thing that I'm looking at that could change my mind, it seems like everything is happening at the same time. It seems like the pitching is there. It seems like the offense is there. The bullpen's better. That might be the one thing that might make the difference is that you look at and say, okay, maybe all these things are coming together. And that's what you're going to have to do on a night-to-night basis. Have we seen them do it long enough to really believe in it for the next month and a half? I don't think we have. So that's something that still sticks out to me. We'll go to Marty in Bellevue before we take a break. Marty, you're on the Nightly Sports Call.
Hey, Josh. Marty, I just want to let you know that you're the best of all the guys on there. And I got 2 things and I would like to say. One, would like to see Meadows come up to be the DH in Cleveland.
Not a bad idea.
2, right, Christian Jerry, Casey DeSmith. They got 2 goalies that can play in the NHL. They need to trade one, whether it be now or later during the trade deadline, to get something. And I know Skinner's available, and Falk from, Carolina. So, and they need to go with. Let me take it out.
Appreciate the call. Especially with Skinner, it's a name we've heard a lot. With that situation with the goaltenders that they have, I would not be surprised if that happened. I wouldn't be surprised if that exact scenario happened because between DeSmith and Jarry, granted, DeSmith significantly older of the 2, but Jarry is considered pretty highly by them. They think he could be a possible goaltender of the future. Granted, you have a Matt Murray, so do you really need a Tristan Jarry? That's one of those things you kind of get caught up in that and wondering if it makes sense for the time being. But I do like the thought of maybe using one of those guys to bring back an asset you can use otherwise. It does make you question the depth below Tristan Jarry on the depth chart going down into the minors. But at this point, sooner or later, they're going to have to make a difficult decision about keeping one of those 2 guys. Actually, no, we'll take a break now. We'll do it when we come back. So we'll take a break now. We'll have our sizzling shot when we come back. Stick around.